This is Commissioner Alan Leishman recording the October 26th Bike Pedestrian Transit Subcommittee meeting. We're going to be starting the meeting tonight at 6:07 p.m. Starting with agenda item 1, call to order, roll call.
Alan Leishman.
Here.
Mary Ann Greco, here. Robert Wagner.
Here.
And Commissioner Amore has an excused absence this evening. Item number 2, public comments. There's no members of the public this evening, so we'll move on to item 3, amendments to the agenda.
I have no amendments.
I have no amendments.
I have no amendments either, so I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the September meeting.
You know what? Okay, we do have approval of minutes. I'd like to make a motion to, well, if there's no amendments, I'm not sure you need to, but.
Well, we need to approve the minutes.
Oh, yeah, but we're still, did I miss, are we on minutes?
Oh,
now?
I'm sorry. Yes, amendments to the, yes, apologies. Item 3, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda this evening?
No.
No
Okay.
amendments.
So we can move on.
We'll move on to item 4, approval of the minutes. Are there any amendments to the minutes from last meeting?
I have no amendments.
Obviously, I don't.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from, September 28th, 2023 for the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee.
It feels weird for me to second the minutes that I wrote.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to second as the chair?
Typically, the chair does not make motions or does
Yeah.
not, but you can do it.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll second it then.
Yeah.
All right. The WASP, point of privilege, the WASP is on your head right now.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's caught in your hair.
Is he still there?
Just stop for a second. It does,
I don't-
sit up so you can't see it. No, we can't see.
Yeah, he's still in there.
Is he really?
Really?
Yeah. There he's out.
Okay, well.
Did he go?
I'm really glad
Yeah,
we aren't recording this video.
Oh, okay. Looks like a new dance.
Yes, at this evening's meeting we have a quite large yellow jacket
I
that
have a
is
fly here.
protesting.
A little house fly.
I believe we currently have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. So,
I believe then you asked for discussion.
yeah, is there any discussion of that item, motion? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the September Bike Pedestrian Transit Subcommittee meeting, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. And we'll move on to item 5, business. Starting with item 5A, rail under overpass grade separation study. Any updates or items that people would like to discuss on this topic?
I don't have anything. They did make a presentation. CDM Smith made a presentation to the village board. The PowerPoint presentation is available online. I think there are going to be other stakeholder meetings, but beyond that, I don't know anything else. I mean, the last stakeholders meeting that I was at, which was a couple months ago, they had narrowed it down to from Villa Avenue, Ardmore, Addison, or possibly Westmore, to Addison Road or Ardmore, for the feasibility study. But beyond that, I don't know anything further. And if you search the document center, you can find the PowerPoint presentation.
The document center for CDM Smith or
No,
the village?
document center for the village.
Okay.
So if you search for document center, it has all the different departments. You just have to, I think, community development, it's under.
Okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to look into that presentation, but I haven't had a chance to yet. I'm sure it's very interesting. Any other points we'd like to discuss on item 5A?
I have nothing.
Okay. We'll move to item 5B, Brewfest Bike Valet Retrospective. So I added this item to the menu. I was hoping we could kind of discuss how the bike valet went and potentially how we'd like to improve it in upcoming years. I know all of us were present there, and at least I personally was a little bit disappointed by the turnout. I think we ended up valeting about 6 bikes in total. And obviously there's a lot more people than that attend Brewfest. What were everyone else's thoughts on the matter?
I agree. It was smaller than past years and much smaller than it should be.
Yeah.
With the number of people who were there who live locally, all I can assume is that it just does not get the publicity it needs.
Yeah, that was kind of the only conclusion that I could come to as well.
I mean, I think our first or second year we had 25 bikes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, maybe 19, but
But they don't do a good, I mean, we had to prod them to say, hey, here's the promotional material, here's the press release. You don't say anything about a bike valet, so I don't know. Unless they all promise us to promote it, I would say it's not worth us to be there for 6 bikes, you know? That's just my thought.
yeah, we didn't get much attention to our committee. We didn't get much attention to the bike survey.
We did pass out quite a few of the QR codes.
Oh,
to
okay.
people.
So there was publicity value in being there.
Now, I don't know if any of those people went on to actually complete the survey, but...
And I have some numbers on the survey which I can talk about later.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But we at least handed out, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen of those flyers. Yeah. So, I mean, I think in terms of what we could do differently next year, I think from my perspective, maybe we need to be more proactive about ensuring that the valet is mentioned on marketing. And so I'm not sure exactly when the first Brewfest marketing went out this year, but maybe we can, reach out to the powers that be prior to that and make sure that, we keep nudging people about the mentioning the bike valet. Because I do think it's a great service. And the other idea that I had, which is a little bit more ambitious, and I don't know if it's actually practical or not, would be to have some sort of special arrangement for attendees that arrive on bicycles. So whether that be like
A discount, yeah.
a discount of some sort or an extra sample from one of the vendors.
Could have something behind the table that we could.
Yeah, a nice sample of the cheapest beer that Sam's Club sells.
No, but I like what you're thinking. Even if it's just a tchotchke of some kind, of key ring or a pretzel necklace.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the pretzel necklaces, I think they sell for like $5 or something like that. And
those are very little cost to the people, so that's a good one, the pretzel necklace.
Yeah.
It's very low cost, but it saves the people arriving the $5, so.
yeah, and it's the sort of thing that both the drinking attendees as well as the designated driver attendees could partake in, would be the pretzel necklaces.
Yeah.
So that might...
I don't know that we're going to get many designated drivers on bicycles, though.
That's fair. Tandems?
Yeah, no, actually, that's fair. I like it.
I do like that idea.
So we should talk to Ashley Jusk
Okay.
and say, we're evaluating our participation next year. could we do some sort of incentive for people who ride their bike?
She's the arranger of
Right.
Brewfest.
Isn't
Yeah.
there a beer, there's a beer something, bicycle something.
I know that there are bars all over the place that.
I feel like Elmhurst Bike Club might do bar crawls every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in California with my sister, there was a bar that had bike parking inside. So
that'd be
that
great.
was really fun because we had gone out for a ride and then we stopped in this bar and it was wonderful. So since we have this nifty new calendar, when does marketing start happening for Brewfest?
I mean, I think it started in the summer.
When does, actually the
I mean, it gets
Village
put on the-
Matters or Villa Park Happenings, whenever that gets published, it's in there. And that's as early as
Yeah.
August, I think.
Right.
So we might put some calendar reminders in to.
Yeah, I can certainly add some calendar reminders for Bike Valet.
And they
marketing.
have changed the date at times.
Sure.
What's the earliest it's been?
It's been in September, like near the beginning of September. I think so, yeah.
I just remember in the marketing this year they were advertising it being like the last Brewfest of the summer. Or the last outdoor Brewfest or something like
Oh,
that.
right, yeah.
So I'm not sure if that trend will continue in the future, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can also reach out to Ashley about potential opportunities for next year because you think it would be in the village's interest for reducing the number of parking spaces that we need, keeping drunk drivers at least out of their cars. And let me tell you, there are some people leaving the festival that should not be getting in cars.
Yes.
And how much money did we collect? Was it just a
It was just the
couple bucks?
the
Yeah.
donations that the commission provided.
Right.
The seed money, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And I am fine returning that to you guys if you would like.
It's probably easier than we'll just make our donations
Just buy
on
us
our
a
own.
drink or something.
Or donate it to the next homeless person we see, that's fine with me.
Yeah, anything else we'd like to discuss on Brewfest?
No, nothing else.
Okay, let's move on to item 5C then. Bicycle-friendly community application. Commissioner Wagner?
So, as previously reported, bike-friendly community application was submitted. I did communicate with someone from League of American Bicyclists, and we had 47 people respond to the survey.
Really?
Yeah, and they thought that was fairly good.
That's way more than I expected to respond to.
Yeah,
47
yeah.
people. So maybe your flyer helped. I'm sure and so. Sorry. So they said that the results of the survey would be available right around the time that they,
Announce
they
their
make the
decision.
awards.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we get an honorable mention because it was good publicity. And something I did not notice before was that Ride Illinois sent out an email about the survey.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, Ride Illinois sent out a survey. I mean, an email saying, please, just, if you live in Villa Park or ride through Villa Park, please fill out this survey. So
Ride Illinois specifically mentioned Villa Park.
it was
A link
just,
to our survey.
it was
Yeah.
just about Villa Park, just
Well,
about our survey.
The same survey was all of the villages in Illinois. And like you selected which village you wanted to submit
Right,
your
but
result.
it only for I think it's only for villages that or towns that
That are applying.
applying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Well,
but it was specifically Villa Park,
Wow, that's awesome.
That's impressive.
yeah. Well, Dave Simmons, who's the executive director, he's helped us out a couple times.
Oh, that's great. That's really great to hear.
So stay tuned, sometime in late fall, we should hear something.
Yeah, I think it's December or something like that.
I think
Yeah.
so, when last time I looked.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see the results of those surveys because, like, I feel like those are going to be really critical for, like, setting bike-related goals for this commission.
Yeah, and I have some information about data collection that might be relevant for future applications, so I can mention that later at commissioner comments.
Okay. Anything else on the BFCA?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Then we'll move to item 5D, the Villa Park Comprehensive Plan.
So, with respect to our special meeting on September 16th, I turned that in last month to Mark McLaughlin.
That was the ECC special meeting, right?
ECC special meeting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know this for certain, but we may be one of the few or only commissions that have had a meeting on this. So he turned around and he sent everything. Our handwritten, I sent Ellen's minutes, he sent it to Housel Levine, who's the firm that's handling it. And I asked, when does this end? Well, we'd like you to do it before the end of the year or early 2024. So there's still an opportunity if we want to partner with traffic and safety, because they knew nothing about it, and we may want to ask Kevin Mantles about it, because he is the liaison to the Traffic and Safety Commission. So he might be a good person to ask.
That's a little disappointed here that we're the only commission that,
Yeah.
or one of very few commissions that have participated. But so I made a note here that I wanted to ask the commission if there was anything that we would want to do to encourage, public participation in the Villa Park Comprehensive Plan. But I guess I'll also extend that to, is there anything we as a commission would like to do to encourage other commissions to participate in the comprehensive plan?
I think it's really up to them. I mean, the library does have a large kind of a poster board or what, large, as you walk in, to encourage people to, take the survey so I don't know. Jeez. Did he come back?
Yeah, I landed on her.
Okay.
Again. I wonder if we should move to the other room.
Well, where did he go?
I saw him.
Or let
Oh,
Bob
I
kill
see.
it.
I see. Sorry, his life would have been short anyhow.
Frost is coming soon.
All right, so the bee left the meeting at 12. Okay.
So we're
Well,
just-
how would we? I mean, what were you thinking? Because I do agree that we should encourage the public, whatever that means. If it means our own social media, if it means having another meeting where we invite the public.
Yeah.
I don't know how to encourage other commissions other than meeting
Yeah.
with them. Offering joint meetings.
Yeah, that's fair.
So traffic and safety meets a week from this coming Tuesday, so, I'm gonna ask them again,
Sure.
so.
Yeah, I guess in terms of the public, one easy thing that I could do is we could share it again on the Our Villa Park cycling community
Yeah,
Facebook page. That would attract people that are probably pretty similarly minded as we are. I did I've discussed in this past this map.social website where people can like draw all over Villa Park like what improvements they would like to be made. Well, it seems like my web browser might be acting up now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, map.social, they have what's called a word cloud. I'm not sure if you guys have.
oh, yeah, I know where word cloud is, yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the word cloud for all of the maps that have been submitted for Villa Park, the number one word that is most popular across all the maps is bike.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And the second most popular is traffic, and the third most popular is pedestrian. Now, part of that I think is in large part due to another map that a member of our village that has submitted that has dozens of suggested pedestrian crossings and bike lanes and stuff like that. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if we can, make that a very loud voice amongst the conversation, I think that's great. So.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the comprehensive plan?
No.
Okay. Item 5E, Pace Bus Route 313. Any updates we'd like to discuss on this?
I have nothing new on this. There was an interesting, with regards to Pace, they have a special bus route with specially imaged buses on Dempster that runs a significant length of Dempster, and I'm not quite sure what destinations are on Dempster. I mean, but they have bus shelters. They run every 15 minutes.
So I'm sorry. What is this? There's a bus route.
There's a bus route
Oh.
on Dempster Avenue for Pace, and they have specially.
What town?
Well, it goes through multiple towns.
Okay.
I mean, it goes through Dempster, goes through, I'm going to say, Mount Prospect,
Okay. That's all right.
Grove,
It's a Pace bus route.
Skokie,
I'll just think
Evanston.
through the suburbs.
I think it may help students getting to Oakton Community College. There's several shopping malls, of course, many strip malls along that, but it was just something that they were touting. 15 to 20 minute service, which is pretty extraordinary.
For suburban, yeah.
Exactly. And I don't want to digress too much, but Metra I just saw it, had a bike work group or bike task force to people who are interested in improving access for people with bikes and scooters on Metra. So I signed up for it, but I don't know. They're supposed to have a meeting. It could be November. I'd have to look. November 2nd. As soon as I find it, I'll send
Okay.
it
So,
to
but
you.
I've noted that you signed up. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that idea of promoting it heavily though. I feel like our 313 doesn't go a lot of. I mean, it goes to Yorktown, but I don't know if we're ready to promote it yet. I think we need to improve the service before we promote it.
Yeah, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like it's not the most convenient service, so not many people take it, which means it becomes lower service and then
Right.
becomes less convenient.
Yeah.
I still think it might be good for us in the future to like, try to figure out some sort of event we could do as a commission that would involve riding the bus somewhere.
We did that a couple years ago, Bob
Yeah,
and I
we
did.
did, so, Mary Ann and I rode over to the bus stop on Ville Avenue, and we made arrangements to
We
meet.
took our bikes to the bus stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tom Marcucci is the DuPage representative to Pace. He's the former mayor of Elmhurst, a well-connected guy, and we met several staff people there. And we rode our bikes over there, we put them on the front rack, and we rode with him on the bus all the way, to Yorktown. And we had a conversation with him about Pace bus service, and we remarked that there was not a bus stop sign where the bus stop is, and they eventually fixed it. They eventually put a bus.
It took
them-
us surprisingly, yeah.
Even the guy, I can't remember what he was. He was with community relations.
like
We'll get
several
that. I handle that. I'll
contacts
get that
and
handled right away.
Yeah.
Well, it took a year and a half or something. Like
A
that.
year and a half and 4 or 5 different
Yeah.
times that we reminded
Right,
them
yeah,
to do it.
exactly.
Yeah. But I mean,
So
but yeah, it was interesting and it got a little bit of publicity. There were some pictures in the paper. It'd be fun if we could do some kind of public event.
Yeah.
He put his bike on it. I had my folding bike. I was trying to
That's
just
right.
mix up the options. Just kind of let people see more options. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it could be good for us as a commission to meet people, but like what I had in mind was, a public event, just to encourage make sure people are aware that we have a bus line that goes through Villa
Yes.
Park, which I honestly didn't realize until a few months ago that we did.
So our interaction with Pace, when we did the bike pedestrian plan, when we had the big public input meeting, they came with a sample, bike rack to show people how you load your bike on the bike rack. We may have invited them to something else. Maybe they were at the D45 bike ride, I don't know. But I did invite them because they're rolling out these electric buses. And I said, I may have mentioned this, that I said, could you bring an electric bus to a community event? And they said that they're so short of bus drivers, they couldn't manage it. So,
No, but the bike rack is an interesting one.
right. But they do, I went to an event in Arlington Heights, a bike ride, and Pace was there. So we could invite them to other things.
I guess we're just not big enough to take drivers away.
Right.
Maybe we could even get Yorktown to have some kind of little event for us because it would be good publicity for them too.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So ride the bike to Yorktown. Yorktown has some little reception for us, or ride the bus. Sorry, you know what I meant.
Does anyone know if Yorktown has a chamber of commerce?
Probably just their management office.
Or maybe Lombard does, but I don't know.
I'm just wondering, if we made it like a lunch event or something like that, the Chamber of Commerce would be
Yeah.
thrilled about, 10 people coming down and having lunch in Yorktown. Just a thought.
Yeah.
It's too bad we don't have more of a destination for people to go to. That they could ride, Pace to. I mean,
We don't have to have an answer this meeting.
yeah.
I'll keep looking at the map at where the bus goes and see if anything jumps out at me. We can keep discussing it. Anything else we'd like to discuss about the bus? Okay. Then item 5F, bike/walk to school day.
I have nothing to add on that. I was going to contact the the PTA, but I did not get around to it. But there'll be other opportunities too.
Yeah, I think the next walk to school day is in May of 2024,
Right.
so we have quite a bit of time. I think unfortunately the next PTA meeting overlaps with this meeting, so we probably will not be able to attend that, but maybe we could look at the December PTA meeting. And the North School PTA meeting in particular is the one that I'm speaking of. And I would also be happy to go to that PTA meeting and discuss there. I live right up there, so it's very easy for me to stop by. Okay, item 5G, Villa Avenue Improvement Project.
I saw that Joe sent an email. If we can connect to the internet, maybe enter his comments into the
Yes.
record.
So I made some notes of
Yeah.
Joe's email.
And I have some, I thought, should I answer this? And I thought, no, I don't have the time to do that, but I have some insights as well about what Joe wrote.
Yeah, so I have Joe's email here in front of me. Sorry, Commissioner Amore's email here in front of me. I can either read that directly into the record, or I've also, I've kind of summarized the things that he was talking about in that email. I'm not sure.
I would prefer a summary.
Okay. So Commissioner Amore sent the rest of this committee an email regarding specifically the Salt Creek Greenway Trail that runs along Villa Avenue. And the kind of thesis of his email was he wanted us to discuss whether we know who operates or owns and operates the section of the Salt Creek Greenway that runs along Villa Avenue, because that is not owned by the county as the other trails in our village are. And he specifically wants us to figure out who that person is because he's interested in, lobbying them for moving the Salt Creek Greenway Trail to the east side of Villa Avenue so people do not have to cross Villa Avenue, as well as potentially adding a rail underpass to the Canadian National and or Union Pacific West lines. Commissioner Wagner, it seems like you have something to say.
So first of all, he said something about that the rail grade crossing feasibility study is partially or something with Villa Park. It's exclusively, it's just us. We're doing the feasibility study. The county is responsible for the trails, for example, like the Prairie Path. If it's on a street, and it's controlled by a village, I believe the village would have responsibility. A lot of the funding for the Villa Avenue Improvement Project is coming from Villa Park. It's also coming from, my understanding, Elmhurst. So the answer to the question is the trail itself, when it's not on a street, is the county. When it's on a street, I believe would be the municipality that it travels through.
So
But Kevin Mantles may be able to clarify that. I thought in his email he said he was in favor of moving the trail to the eastern end of the properties that are between Thomas and I can't remember what other street he was saying. 3rd Street?
Give me a second.
Thomas and 3rd, because I looked at a map to see where that was.
I didn't look
Second
close.
Avenue.
2nd Avenue. So, and I think I'm saying it verbatim, he wanted to move it. So those properties, I work in one of those properties. You're not going to move. There's no place to put a trail through there. There's no way to put a bike trail through First Student. There's no way, unless you want to acquire part of the property, we don't have enough room for sometimes all the buses to begin with. I think it's still called K5 asphalt. I don't know if you've ever seen the huge mound of asphalt that they have there. You're not gonna run a trail through there. And then the idea that we would, I mean, it's great to advocate for something, but I just don't think it's realistic. The train traffic for the Canadian National is, I don't know how many trains go through a day, but it's not very many. When we're trying to get a, rail grade crossing separation for Ardmore or Addison, for us to advocate for, Villa Avenue, and don't put this in the minutes, sometimes I think Commissioner Morey throws stuff out there, and, I mean, we can all dream, but I just don't think what he's suggesting, I thought, this is kind of a waste of time. I mean, they're moving along with the design of the Villa Avenue Improvement Project. Some of it has to do with funding. They're not gonna hold up a project for 10 years to wait to see if they can get funding for a overpass or something. It's just, it's great to dream, but I don't know how realistic it is. So the things that he was suggesting, if we get what they're promising, it'll be an improvement, And I think he went in, he was suggesting this before. He was suggesting that the trail goes on the eastern side of the property, goes underneath, but he walked, I don't know if you recall this, he walked over there. I'm not quite sure
He walked the east side? I mean,
he walked the east side. I don't know if he went on the right of way, but he agreed there was no way to put a trail through there.
Now,
So, in fairness, he is also suggesting the possibility of running the path not along the eastern edge of the property, but along the eastern side of the road.
Okay, then maybe I misunderstood him. Yeah.
Both options are discussed in this email.
And so there's there's going to be another public input meeting for the Villa Avenue Improvement Project. It's going to come in 2024. So
And just as a point of clarity, I think we should speak to Kevin Mantle about the non-road portions of the Salt Creek Greenway Trail, because I do not believe that those are managed by the county.
the what?
The Salt Creek Greenway Trail,
That are on the street.
no, that are off the street, I do not believe they are run by the county. I asked about this at, I asked someone from DUDOT,
Sydney Kenyon.
Sydney Kenyon,
So
about this.
Sydney Kenyon, you may know, lives a few blocks from here,
Okay,
and he's actually been to our meetings.
okay.
So,
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I asked him specifically about the Salt Creek Greenway Trail,
Okay.
and he said that there is not significant portions of that the county owns. I believe the trail was created, the initiative was started by the Elmhurst Parks Department, but not all of it is in Elmhurst. So
So if I could just interject, I remember the meeting, one of the first meetings about it. It was held at Oak Brook Village Hall. And I don't know how many years ago that was. Could have been 15, 20 years ago. So,
all right, so then that's one of the things we need to do is find out who has jurisdiction
Yeah.
over the Salt Creek Greenway Trail.
I still think that would be valuable information for the commission to figure out. Even if some of these other suggestions are not entirely feasible. Any other points of discussion on the Villa Avenue improvement project?
I have nothing.
All right, moving on to item 5H, the Tri-Trail Connector. Any updates we would like to discuss?
No, just that construction's underway.
Excellent.
And Kevin may be able to tell us more about that as well.
Okay, item 5I, suicide prevention signs. This was largely an initiative led by Commissioner Amore, so I doubt there are any updates people have. All right.
I just want to interject one thing. It might be useful for us to have someone, it could be Commissioner Amore, report on the DuPage Rail Safety Council. Because we never get any reports on that. I did see I can't remember who sends out the minutes, but those are interesting. So it may be something we want to discuss.
DuPage Rail Safety
Council.
Council.
Joe is actually treasurer for them.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can discuss with him when he is back at these meetings. Because I agree that he would probably be the best person for keeping us updated on that.
Right.
Okay, item 5J, community outreach and education.
Well, Bob and I both did some steps towards the pumpkin smash, which is more of an ECC thing, so never mind.
No worries.
Though I did try to encourage bicycles subtly. I suggested that pictures of the people bringing their pumpkins on bikes be one of the publicity pictures.
Handsome people.
And some of my copy was like, however you get them there, bring your pumpkins. So.
Cool. Any other outreach we'd like to discuss? Or upcoming opportunities?
Well, we did get some publicity for the bike survey at the Brew Fest. So
Yep.
We have been active there.
That's a good point. I do have some items in some things to talk about in the next couple items that I guess might be considered outreach. So unless there's objection, maybe we can move on to item 5K.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Item 5K, TIF 7, which is the St. Charles Road TIF. I added this to the agenda because as this is being discussed by the village, Commissioner Amore pointed out that there will be a public hearing on January 9th about the TIF. And I wanted to discuss with you guys whether we feel it would be in the Commission's interest to, prepare a formal recommendation for the village regarding the development on St. Charles.
So there was a presentation, and I completely missed this. There was a presentation that Mark McLaughlin made just about St. Charles Road.
This was to the board?
It was to a group. There was a public meeting, which I completely missed. And that's on the village's website, about the St. Charles Road corridor, St. Charles Road, the TIF that they want to create. And it incorporates a lot of things. It incorporates information from the previous comprehensive plan that talked about the St. Charles Road corridor. A lot of that information is in the bike pedestrian plan too. So,
yeah, I know that the village has done the research on this several times and come to the same conclusion every time that
right.
St. Charles Road needs to be put on a diet.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you look at this PowerPoint presentation. It has,
Hello.
Hi.
It has photos of different businesses. And some businesses object to some of the verbiage that's used in the TIF, this mentions blighted businesses. They're not blighted, but there's a lot of vacant storefronts.
Evening.
And,
Hello.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
No, it's
Commissioner
okay. I
Greco?
was gonna just bring it back around. I like your idea of formalizing it, because in the past, we've had a rough idea and then we go and then we veer. It's easy to veer into our own opinions when we're discussing it. So
Yeah,
we can still give our own opinions, but I like the idea of having one unified plan or recommendation.
yeah. So I guess my point of
Would you just like to sit at the table, or?
Oh, yeah, please, absolutely.
I guess my point of preparing a
Maybe you can help
statement.
me with this. What is, what's the password for
The VP Village, we typically don't use, but the VP Guest, I've got the password for that.
Yeah, I tried using @VP guest, but
It's not working?
it's not working.
It says no internet connection. It's like it's not, the
It's,
Wi-Fi's not connecting to the internet.
Yeah.
let me see if I can something different. That should work.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess my point of like preparing an official statement from the BPT would not be like to bring any new ideas to the table, but just to formally
Support it, yeah.
endorse
Yeah.
a specific plan. So kind of the idea that I had, and let me know your guys' thoughts, would be, I could draft up a statement, something short, just saying like, based on the results of the BPT or the bike pedestrian plan, as well as the comprehensive plan from 2009 or whatever, the bike pedestrian transit recommends X, Y, and Z for St. Charles Road. And then at our November meeting, I could bring that statement before you guys and we could bring it to a motion whether or not we want to adopt that.
Yeah, I said we can refine and approve it.
Yes. Yeah. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
And then we could either present it at the public hearing on the 9th, or we could email it to the board, or we could do both.
Yeah, I'm planning on going, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm planning on attending as well. But I would like the BPT to have, an official opinion on the matter.
Okay, I like this plan.
Okay. Then I will work on a draft for next month's meeting. All right. Moving on to item 5L, the DuPage Trails Plan. So I added this item to the agenda. As you guys may have heard, the DuPage County Department of Transportation released the DuPage Trails Plan that they have been working on for the past couple years. I actually had the privilege of sitting in on a meeting today from Sid Kenyon about the results of that plan. It seems the plan itself is available at DuPageTrailsPlan.com if you guys are interested. It's a very extensive document. It's about 100 pages long. But based on my quick read through it, it seems like it's largely focused on like standardizing the trails experience across DuPage County, specifically with regards to Illinois Prairie Path, the Great Western Trail, and the Southern DuPage Regional Trail, which DUDOT maintains. But the reason in particular that I wanted to bring this on tonight's agenda is as part of developing this plan, DUDOT actually did quite a bit of surveys about people's experience on these trails. And there's actually quite a bit of really interesting data as an appendix for this plan, and some nice visualizations. What people use the trails for, and how far they travel along them, what people would like done with the area surrounding the trails, which they call the trail corridor. And probably the page that I found most interesting was, if you're looking at this later, it's pages 96 and 97 of the plan, which is the survey they performed on innovative uses of the corridor around the trail. So basically the amenities that people like the most to have along the trails. And number one, as you might expect, was public bathrooms. And number two was drinking fountains, but number three was actually habitat restoration. And that was kind of a theme that went through a lot of the plan itself. Is most of the people that are at least responded to these surveys and are using the trails were very interested in, native species, restoring green spaces and stuff like that. And so, personally, I think if, I know we've discussed this in the past, but, along the prairie path in our village, there's those large lawn spaces, kind of the width of the whole village. And so if the village is looking into doing more with that space, I think the data that's presented here could be very helpful.
Yeah, I think Sydney actually came and made a presentation at one of our meetings at the DePage Trail Plan.
Vaguely familiar, yeah.
Yeah, and I participated.
Several years ago.
Yeah, I participated in I'm gonna call it a stakeholders meeting initially.
Sure.
And we were actually promoting the survey. We were helping to try and promote the
I
survey
think so, yeah.
for the DuPage Trail Plan. And I think it also references the economic benefits of the trails.
Yeah.
I mean, we can spend all day talking about it, but through Villa Park and that lawn space, I think it's a balance because that's also part of our park network. Like those green spaces, I've seen people out there playing volleyball and doing park-like things on those green spaces. So the habitat restoration may not be right for our little section.
Sure. And that's not the only thing that people were endorsing on these survey results. There was also people interested in community gardens, play areas, all kinds of things like that.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it is useful data for us to have in mind if we,
Yeah, I'm about halfway through it, the plan.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else people would like to discuss about?
I think not until we've read it all.
Sure, that's fair.
And I believe there's a survey associated with that as well.
So the public comment period ends on the 17th of November.
That's it, okay.
I don't believe there's really a survey. It's just kind of a send us an email type
Public
thing.
comment, okay, ends 11/17. Okay.
Yes. So if you have opinions about that, feel free to fill them out. Originally, before I realized how we were able to submit comments, I was going to ask if the commission would like to publicize that service, but it's kind of a free form, just send us an email type thing. So I'm not sure how many people would actually fill it out if we, post about it on Facebook.
But we should try to make people aware of the
Sure.
the plan, definitely.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Anything else on the trails plan? Okay. Then item 6, commissioner comments. Commissioner Greco?
I have none.
Commissioner Wagner?
I did come across a tool. It's through Strava, and you may know Strava is an app, a website where people, runners, walkers, bicyclists can track their training for something, routes they've taken, but it's called I think it's called Strava Metro, and it's mainly for planners, and it'll provide you with data about how many people travel this route, how many people, and they touted it as almost like a counter.
Yeah.
How do you count pedestrians? How do you count bikes? So Strava has this tool, so I applied for it, but they denied me access. So maybe somebody from staff,
How do you spell it? Is it S-T?
Strava, Strava, I believe it's Strava Metro. Yeah, because, and I even used the village, environmental concerns, and that didn't sway them. And I sent them an email saying, why did you deny me? But I think they have lots, I think
Is it
they have,
free
they have made,
data?
it's
Is it-
free.
It's free, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
free
it's
data.
not free to be part of Strava. They'll give
Right.
you a free membership, but,
Right, I gotcha.
yeah. I
But
believe it's
yeah,
Strava Metro.
if the numbers are big enough, crowdsourcing is an
Yeah, and I
amazing way to
thought,
gather data.
boy, that would be helpful for a future bike-friendly community application or
Sure.
friendly application. Did you find it, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's just Strava.com.
Huh?
Strava.com.
No, but there's Strava Metro.
So then you're saying that's different?
Yeah, Strava
Okay.
Metro is the
Oh,
special.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, for plan. It's mainly for planners.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or they also say active transportation advocates. I thought, I mean, how do you prove that you're an advocate?
Yeah, fair enough.
But they deny. I think they've just been inundated with requests, and maybe that's why they said no. But maybe somebody with more credentials, somebody who's a civil engineer, could, But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Several meetings ago, I brought up a tool. It's a walk audit toolkit, and the one that I presented was produced by AARP. Well, AARP now has a bike audit toolkit, which is very similar to the walk audit toolkit, where you identify problem areas or just areas where, you could improve, accessibility for bicyclists. So that was just released. I haven't had a chance to look at it. And lastly, I mentioned that I went through the America Walks Walking College. Jeez. Did he get up again?
I don't know.
I'm awake now.
Yeah, it is the same one, Bob.
Is it really?
Yep.
Wow, I thought I swapped it.
They're hard to kill. Earlier in the meeting, it landed in my hair,
you
and then it
couldn't get it
landed
out.
on my shirt. Yeah, it was amazing how stuck he was to my head.
I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Took you by surprise.
I have to, I'm working on my walking action plan, and I contacted Gina Racconelli, and I said, I'm involved in this program, I'd like to, my walking action plan is to create a walking club, and they were interested. So, stay tuned.
Gina at the Park District is.
Gina, at Parks and Recreation Department, yeah.
Oh, so they're interested in like helping you promote
Helping
it and
promote
helping
the
you.
walking club,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And that's all I got.
All right. I had a few comments this evening. Last week I had the privilege of attending the Active Transit Alliance Ride Illinois Suburban Advocacy Call for October. It's kind of a small group, about a dozen people, but it was still really interesting. One of the big things that I took away from that meeting is that there are lots of grants and funding available for active transportation, both in terms of planning, creating a village-wide bike plan, as well as, the actual construction themselves. So I won't go into the details of all the different grants that were outlined, but needless to say, if the village would like to pursue something like this, there's quite a bit of money available. Other takeaway from that meeting is that in 2024, the ATA is going to largely be focused on transit because of the, as we've discussed already, upcoming fiscal cliff. So I figure next year we as a commission will probably be pretty interested in endorsing transit as well to support that initiative. Then just today, I attended the Active Transit Alliance's West Suburban Trails webinar. I'm not sure if anyone else was on that.
I couldn't make it.
I was for a while, and I just have not been active. Okay, go ahead.
No,
It'll
it's-
probably, I think they recorded it.
they do record it, so if you missed it, I would encourage you to check it out. It was a pretty cool meeting. They had presentations from basically all of the friends of insert trails that you can imagine. So there was one for the Prairie Path, the Great Western,
And the East Branch.
and the East Branch of the DuPage River Trail.
Ginger, I can't remember Ginger's last name.
Ginger Wheeler.
Ginger Wheeler, that's right.
Salt
Yeah.
Creek Trail. Any mention of that one?
No, and so that's why. And there was also a presentation from Sid Kenyon regarding the DuPage trail plan, and so that's why I asked about the Salt Creek Greenway Trail, if that is included as part of the trails plan, and he said no, because it is not owned by the county. So, yeah, it was a cool meeting. Encourage you to check it out. And also, this was the first time that I had heard of the East Branch Trail. And so, if you are new to that, like I was, they do have a petition to create that trail. And you can find a link to that petition at eastbranchtrail.org. It's a change.org petition.
Okay, I think I signed it already, but because Ginger's been pushing this for a long time.
Yeah, I
they've
get-
been at- yeah.
It was planned in the 80s, the first time. But yeah, I think Ginger has been involved in it for the last decade or so.
Yeah, I admire her persistence.
But that is all the comments that I had this evening. Are there any comments from village staff this evening?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Sure, I'll second.
All right. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Environmental Concerns Commission. And Ellen, Commissioner Chaconis, would you like to call the roll?
Oh, Joe Amore?
And so let me just preface, Commissioner Amore and Commissioner Tamara Lambert Wesolowski have excused absences today. So they're, yeah,
Marianne Greco?
Here.
Sandra Hill?
Here.
Alan Leishman?
Here.
Robert Wagner?
here.
And myself.
So we have a quorum. Okay. And once again, we're recording this, so if folks could speak up, I may put this in the center, so it picks up everybody. Okay, and for those of you who don't know him, Kevin Mantles is in the Public Works Department, and you're a civil engineer, right?
Yeah, I'm the assistant village engineer.
Assistant village engineer. And Director Guerra is on vacation. So we appreciate Kevin coming this evening.
Sure.
And it's Mantels.
Correct.
Okay, item 2, public comments on agenda items. There are no public present, so no public comment. Amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda? I would like to suggest one, and I'll entertain a motion for this. This relates to the cooking oil collection. What I'd like to do is get some funding to do a sign, just a simple sign. Corrugated plastic sign that we could put on Route 83 by Salt Creek Sanitary District, since they've consented to us to do the collection on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So if someone wants to make a a motion to amend the agenda to include discussion of that spending.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Well, but there is cooking oil collection on the agenda already. Wouldn't it be appropriate to just
yeah, but I wanted to put some, to.
Specifically about the
spending, yeah,
spending?
spending about
Okay.
it, yeah.
all right?
I will second.
Okay, so second by Al Leishman. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Sure.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's included on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for our meeting held on September 28th, 2023. Is there a motion to accept?
I
Mary
will
Ann?
motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of September 28th, 2023.
So, motion by Commissioner Greco. Is there-
I will second that motion.
So Commissioner Leishman seconds it. Is there any discussion? Well, I just want to say, and I know I've said it before, but I appreciate your work, preparing the minutes. They're always timely and accurate, and I want to say the same to Mary Ann.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for your,
thank
your work in doing the minutes, so we appreciate it. Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the meeting minutes from September 20th, 2023, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the meeting minutes are approved. Okay, we're gonna move on to item 5A. Report of the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee.
Okay, so this is Commissioner Leishman speaking. At the Bike Pedestrian Transit Subcommittee meeting this evening, we discussed the rail under overpass grade separation. We discussed the Brewfest Bike Ballet. We were a little bit disappointed with this year's Bike Ballet turnout, so we brainstormed a few things that we could do to improve for next year. We talked about the bike-friendly community application, and according to the League of American Bicyclists, there were actually 47 respondents to our bike survey as part of that application, which was a surprisingly large number of people. We talked about the Villa Park Comprehensive Plan, and we're still interested in pursuing a comprehensive plan meeting with traffic and safety.
So the do-it-yourself comprehensive plan meeting.
Yeah, the DIY town hall event. But we're still waiting to hear back from traffic and safety about scheduling that. We believe it has to be done before the end of the year or sometime in early 2024. We discussed ways that we might be able to encourage usage of bus route 313. We're still working on that. We discussed, once again, working with North School for a bike walk to school day in 2024, which is tentatively in May of 2024. So we plan to attend a PTA meeting to discuss that with the parents. We discussed the Villa Avenue Improvement Project, specifically with regards to the Salt Creek Greenway. Actually, we had a question for village staff.
Sure.
Regarding that, do you happen to know who owns and maintains the Salt Creek Greenway through our portion of the village, of the trail?
The Village of Villa Park
Wait.
owns and maintains the Villa Park portion of Greenway Trail.
Okay.
Basically, at every point along the trail, local jurisdiction, whether it's the village or the city, or in many cases park districts,
Okay.
owns and maintains those portions of the trail.
Okay, that's good to know, thank you.
Are there then agreements for where the trail meets the different,
There is, yeah, there's a comprehensive agreement, for example, Elmhurst Park District maintains the portion that runs through the city of Elmhurst. I believe the DuPage County Forest Preserve District maintains the portion on their, Forest Preserve property, so.
okay,
And the Greenway is multi-county, I mean, it goes through, starts in Cook County, goes through DuPage, goes back into Cook County, so.
Cool, that's good to know, thank you.
actually helpful, yeah.
We also discussed that the Tri-Trail Connector is currently under construction. We discussed TIF 7, and we're going to formally, which is the TIF along St. Charles Road, if you're not familiar. We are going to work on establishing an official recommendation for the board from a bike pedestrian perspective in terms of putting St. Charles Road on a road diet that we are going to prepare for the public hearing in January. And then finally, last item on the agenda, we discussed the recently released DuPage County Trails Plan, which is largely focused on kind of standardizing the trails experience along the Prairie Path, the Great Western Trail, and the Southern DuPage Regional Trail. But one thing that I think could be useful for our village, besides just standardizing those trails, is that as part of that plan, the county did quite a bit of surveys of people that use the trails, and that data is included as an appendix for the trails plan. You know, what people use the trail for, how far they go, what they're interested in, what amenities they would like to be added alongside the trails. And that sort of thing caught my attention in particular with, you know, the large grass spaces that we have along our segment of the Prairie Path. And so if the village, you know, would like to pursue development of those areas, I think that data could be very useful. And another thing that is relevant for the ECC that I wanted to point out is that basically all of the respondents to the surveys were very pro native species being planted along the trails, as well as adding trees and, you know, just making them more natural green spaces. So there's definitely people riding along those trails that generally agree with the ECC. And that is basically all we discussed in the last meeting.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Leishman. Gonna move on to item 5B, follow up on our goal setting session. And I have to confess, I have not been to your Google Doc since our last meeting, so I apologize, but I have done some work on my goals, which are water goals, you know, to deal with water. Does anyone want to, has there been any updates? Have you looked at your Google, or your spreadsheet?
I have actually not looked at my spreadsheet lately, but let me see if there have been changes. This is kind of tangentially related to the goals, but one thing that we did discuss during this section of the agenda last month was the social media posts that we've been working on.
They've been turning out good.
Yeah, I think they have been turning out quite well. So thank you for those that drafted those. And sorry, I'm kind of stalling while I pull up the goals page.
Well, I haven't done anything.
Okay.
with it, but mine is ways off, so I don't feel
Okay.
pressured.
Well, I mean, your goals were, you know, largely related to outreach as well. So some of that is the social
Oh,
media.
that goal I think has been taken care of
Yeah.
within this, yeah.
So I do think that we are, you know, largely aligned with our goals in terms of reaching out to the community more with social media. Oh, I guess since the last meeting, one of my action items was following up with Donnie about who does these social media posts and asking his advice. If you did not see my email earlier, he basically asked that we send us these drafts a week prior to when they're going to be posted, because he schedules things out, days in advance. But otherwise, he's very excited to, help us with this initiative.
Right. And I saw your post about the UN.
Day of Climate Action.
That was nice.
Yep. I think that post turned out well. I think all of them turned out well. The Carges post went out as well. And I heard the library had more attendees for that event than they were expecting. So
That helps.
the ECC will take entire responsibility for that.
There you go. Thanks for helping
How
get the
many
word out.
people, I
think we had
confess
30.
I completely missed it. How many
30
people
some.
were in attendance?
30-some, is that what I heard? And we only had like maybe 20 signed up initially. It was a lower attendance than I would have expected, so yeah, it helped boost it. So, it's good.
So yeah,
Maybe it made people more aware that Bill Carges is still around.
Yeah.
And is still a resource, so that's good.
in drafting that post, I did not drop that he, was formerly at Pioneer because, I didn't want to pigeonhole him into that, which,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think some people have a tendency to do. But that conversation kind of happened in the comments anyway. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But maybe since there's, not really been any updates to people's goals since last month, do we want to discuss social media posts for next month?
We could. I can't even remember
And,
what's on the
I
schedule.
think Donnie's done at least one post on Pumpkin Smash.
I sent him something. I actually haven't been seeing them, but I haven't been spending much time on Facebook.
So this is something I submitted for Village Matters, which is gonna be on the next version of Village Matters, which is soon to be released.
I'd hope so.
Only electronically, right, yeah. Yeah, since we have Pumpkin Smash in there. But we do have,
Is the deadline passed for getting stuff in Village Matters?
Yes. for this
yes,
next
yeah,
issue,
so, yeah, but he did get in, we do have a page on, I'm gonna pass that down,
Okay.
on the Green Champion Award, and then, Pumpkin Smash. So I think it's getting released, this week or early next week, if I'm not mistaken.
And Commissioner Amore and myself at Halloween Happenings, we basically told every single person that stopped by about Pumpkin Smash. So I'm optimistic, and most people were very excited about it. So I'm optimistic that we might have a good turnout this year.
So with respect to my goal with water, I did send to staff that study that I did on dissolved oxygen in Lufkin Pond, North Terrace Pond, Twin Lakes. I haven't gotten any feedback about it. I just said that we hope to do measure dissolved oxygen levels on an annual basis. So,
Just curious, did that go to Parks and Recreation or
pardon me?
which staff was that submitted to?
So I sent it to Greg Gola.
Okay.
I sent it to Brian Roach.
Okay.
I sent it to Manager Harline. I sent it to Director Guerra.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, I can send it to you, Kevin, if you wish.
If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so through Salt Creek Sanitary District, we got a HACH, H-A-C-H. They provide a lot of testing equipment. And so it's a dissolved oxygen test kit.
Okay. Okay.
And went and measured for dissolved oxygen. Of course, North Terrace Pond was the best since it's aerated. But Twin Lakes was pretty good. And Lufkin, despite all the activity there, could support fish life. It was, I can't remember, I don't have it in front of you, 5 or 6 parts per million dissolved oxygen. So it's sufficient to support aquatic life. It's a pretty simple test. I mean, they do have electronic testers, but those are about $1,200. Yeah. And Salt Creek didn't feel comfortable letting me there, so.
Would we like to discuss social media posts for next month?
I would.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I haven't figured out how to share my calendar on that yet. Of course, the month after I figured out the projector, they get rid of the projector.
What's that?
Do you know why it's gone, the projector's
Because
gone?
of this being up now.
Yeah.
May not have the TV, yeah.
But it looks like in November we have World Vegan Day coming up on the 1st. We have National Recycling Day on the 15th.
Oh, yeah.
National Hiking Day on the 17th. World Toilet Day on the 19th.
Yes, and I'm going to mention that at our Salt Creek Sanitary District meeting.
Oh my God, okay.
And World Sustainable Transportation Day on the 26th. So we're kind of back heavy, if we're going to be posting these things on the actual day that they're occurring. But
The World Toilet Day is
the 19th.
19th, right, okay.
I think the village would appreciate a post about that. I mean,
I'm gonna
it's
put a
kind of
post-
silly, but it is actually
No, I'm-
important for water quality.
I'm gonna put a post about flushable wipes, which are not flushable, and they create a problem for sanitary districts because they don't necessarily get captured by the bar screen, and it clogs up it complicates the processing. And then also, people flush down their out-of-date medication,
Oh, yeah.
which you should not do, because it's been shown that affects aquatic life.
Yeah, we don't, and it affects people too. We're not
Right.
filtering it out. Yeah, that's a great post for World Toilet Day.
So I'm gonna work on a post that deals with that.
Okay.
What not to flush.
Prior to the 19th. We used to have a collection box in the police department for prescription drugs, but they got rid of it.
Does the Walgreens on Roosevelt still have it?
Yeah, Walgreens on Roosevelt, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
National Hiking Day might be kind of cool, because you could link to a DuPage County Trail Guide or something, I don't know.
When is National Hiking Day?
The 17th.
National Hiking Day?
Hiking, yeah.
Is November an appropriate month to do something about shoveling and the guidelines or the village rules for shoveling?
I mean, I feel like if we post about it, we'll probably suspend our first snowfall for 2 months.
We want that, right?
So do we need snow or not?
That could be a good one for later in the month, for sure. We could also do a post about the cooking oil collection on the 25th.
Absolutely, because cooking oil collection relates to clean water.
Yep.
And I think I mentioned in our last meeting that they had collected 280 gallons of cooking oil, which was sent along to a company that produces biodiesel. So, and we'll get to it later, but we can help with the collection on the day after Thanksgiving.
So, personally, I think the cooking oil one would definitely be valuable, since that's something we are, as a commissioner, taking on
Right.
How do we feel about that going out on the 21st, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving? Figure the Tuesday is before people have, really started cooking.
Yeah, Tuesday's when they're looking at their recipes and
Yeah.
figuring it
Exactly.
out, so I like Tuesday,
Yeah, I'll handle sending
Okay.
that to Donnie.
Okay.
That's, so it's coming out on the 21st, so it's due
On the 14th.
14th.
And if we don't want the World Toilet Day post to come out that close to the cooking oil post, we could probably, move it a week earlier or something like that.
Well, but it might not be bad to have them close together because you don't want people putting their cooking oil down the toilet either.
Right.
There's lots of things you don't
Or-
want
or
people putting down the toilet.
Or down a storm drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I did National Hiking Day, so that would be due in to Donnie November 9. Does this get vetted by one individual or do you just contact him directly?
I just sent him an email at.
PO, PIO.
PIO?
Yeah, PIO.
He has another email that he's a little bit more that he seems to favor.
Oh, okay.
I think they probably both link to the same inbox,
Is it
but
D Pisano? Pisano?
I'm checking. Yeah, it's dpisano at invillapark.com. DPISANO.
Okay, so we need something for the 14th, we need one will be due on Halloween to go out on the 7th, right?
You're thinking we just release them on Tuesdays?
Well,
That's
however
fine,
he
I-
wants to do it,
yeah.
but we need to know when they're due.
Yeah.
Well, and if she's trying, I see what she's trying to do is space them, so,
Yeah.
Well, like National Hiking Day, you want posted the day. It's
Which is the
Yes.
17th.
right.
It's the Friday.
So, I mean, if I got it ready and sent to him the 9th, then that should be sufficient, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
You could send it to him the 10th, I think.
okay.
I don't think we need to completely evenly space them throughout the month. Just as long as we're sending
Yep.
4-ish a month.
Yep.
I think that's
Yeah, December's gonna be very quiet. 'Cause I
so
peeked
maybe
ahead.
the first week in December would be a good week for the snow shoveling.
Yeah.
Because November seems pretty full. So,
Yeah, I would say December would be good with the snow.
yeah.
There's only 2 days, December.
So, what's a good day to send it, or do we want to talk about it at the next meeting?
I think we can talk about it at the next meeting. Our next meeting is a week earlier than it would normally
Right.
be due to
I think it's gonna be
Thanksgiving,
the
so
16th.
Okay,
buys
alright.
us a little bit more buffer time.
Cool, okay.
But I do think it might be good to figure out something to go out the week of November 6th, which is the first full week of November.
Which means you want it in,
Pretty soon.
yeah,
Which week are you talking about?
The November 6th through the 10th.
And what,
There's no real holidays that week,
okay.
so kind of a dealer's choice as to what we want to post
Yeah.
about.
National Recycling Day.
That's
is
the 15th.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yes, I get it.
Something that's happening there, so it could just be,
And the Illinois Recycling Association, they have, you could go to their website, they have suggested activities that deal with that day,
Okay.
or
well, I can do
Information
that
about
one,
it.
I just need to know. So we want that 15th, we want it the week of the, but that, wait, I'm a little confused here. National Hike, you would put something in the week, like the 9th.
9th or 10th, yeah.
So we want something, and those two events then would be the same week.
Yeah, we're a little bit crowded because we're gonna have National Hiking Day is the 17th. We'll have a post coming out then. The Toilet Day is the 19th, and then cooking oil would be going out on the 21st. So we have 3 posts coming out within 6 days of each other, which I think is fine. They're all like timely things. But I do think it would be good to maybe have something the week of the 6th through the 10th.
You know, it just occurred to me that the people on the Weird Villa Park group might appreciate National Toilet Day.
Yeah, one of us can share it to that page for sure.
Was that?
One of us can share it to that page for sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go there, it's weird.
Do we want to, for that post for the 11th through the 10th, or the 6th through the 10th, I mean, is there a way to promote the D45 plastic bag collection, or?
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in touch with Kay. I've already been in touch with her a little bit. I'm not sure when she wants to start all that,
Ah, okay.
so I'd say,
Let her control the messaging, yeah.
well, she can let me know. I'm happy to work with it, but I do,
We could also have that post go out at the end of November, the 27th through the 30th.
as soon as I don't really understand a lot of how it's working.
That's
So-
fair.
And that's what she is gonna tell me. When I sent her a bunch of questions, she said, yeah, this is a phone call.
I just want to remind folks, when we're talking, we should probably say this is Commissioner so-and-so. Just because, so there's gonna be a lot of background talking and they're not gonna be able to discern who's talking, so. I know this is kind of aggravating, but this is what we have to deal with, so.
Thank you for the reminder.
This was Commissioner Wagner speaking.
Commissioner Leishman, so it sounds like maybe we're not ready to release that plastic bag collection post for early in November. Do you think it'll be ready for late in November?
This is Ellen Dracona saying again, I don't know.
Well,
I don't, I've only let her suggested that we have this conversation and then I'll know.
okay.
Right now, I'm about this far from knowing that it happened, you know. I think the National Recycling Day, I can do something about that that's generic. It can go out at any time that we need something to fill in. So if you want something for the week of the 7th, I can write something, and who cares if it's a week ahead? I mean, it's still recycling. It isn't
Right.
gonna just
Right.
happen on that one day.
It doesn't necessarily.
Mary Ann
have to
Greco
coincide.
says, do it.
So, okay.
Commissioner Leishman, so let's say that there's going to be a recycling related post coming out November 6th through 10th. Drafted by Commissioner Draconis. And that will at least get us through to our next meeting. So currently what I'm seeing is next week, I think we'll have a post coming out about the pumpkin smash, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 6th through the 10th will be a post about recycling from Commissioner Draconis. The week of the 13th, we'll have a post from Commissioner Hill about National Hiking Day on the 17th. Then the week of the 19th through the 24th, also known as the week of Thanksgiving, we'll actually have 2 posts drafted by Commissioner Wagner, the first on the 19th about World Toilet Day, and the second on the 21st about cooking oil collection that upcoming Saturday. Does that sound correct to everyone?
Sounds correct to me.
Okay. And I'm starting to feel excluded, so how would we feel about me drafting a post for World Vegan Month the week after Thanksgiving?
That's very interesting, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. Right at the end of the month, so people don't have to commit to a whole month of it.
Yeah, and it's after Thanksgiving. They've already had their turkey.
Yeah.
Just, I would say, don't be judgmental. Just be encouraging.
Yeah. I will probably take the approach that we were considering for World Vegetarian Day last month, which was, I'll post some sort of recipe or something like that.
So I have a question. Should we send this to everybody? This is Ellen Jerkonis. Should we send this to everybody? I feel a little, how do we know? I mean, do we need approval of this? Is he gonna be the one, let him
Yeah, I
decide
mean,
what's
Donnie
appropriate?
is the,
Okay,
yeah, he's
okay.
the public information officer, so he is going
Okay,
to be
all right.
the gatekeeper, so to speak.
Okay.
So if this is Mary Ann Greco, so if we're breaking any rules or he feels like it's not appropriate for the village message,
Yeah.
or branding, then he'll either rewrite it or not run it. Okay.
And this will be a learning, this is Commissioner Wagner, this will be a learning process. I mean, if there is something, he'll tell us what needs to be corrected. But I'm looking at the Village Matters and he pretty much put up verbatim what I gave him.
Right. Interesting point. If this is Mary Ann Greco again, if we do get feedback on any of our posts, it would be a good thing to share at the meeting so the rest of us can learn from it.
You mean from,
Right. If the village edits something dramatically or refuses to
Sure.
run something, it would just be a good thing to share with the rest of us so we know.
this is Commissioner Leishman. That's another advantage of sending him these drafts a week in advance, is like, there is a little bit of buffer time to, editorialize and, improve the post if necessary. Okay, that sounds like a good plan to me.
Okay, well, thank you, and thanks to everyone for their posts that will be going out through the month of November. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5C. I have here Forestry Department, but it should be Forestry Division. Discussion of operations and staffing. And this kind of came as a result of something that Commissioner Omori had sent me. He was advocating for the village to have an arborist, which I think is a wonderful idea, but I don't think our budget would allow for an arborist. From what I know about the budget and about staffing, that we're kind of lean and mean, so to speak. But I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to learn about the forestry division. And you may recall that this was on the agenda last month, and we had hoped that Director Guerra or someone he would designate would come and speak to us about it. But Director Guerra is on vacation, so Kevin Mantles is here in his place. And what I thought would be interesting I passed out to everybody, the pages that I sent are from the current village budget. And it starts off with just accomplishments, service goals, So the forestry section maintains approximately 10,000 parkway trees, and that was kind of a surprising number to me. Activities include tree planting, tree removal, pruning, storm damage control, mosquito abatement. That was also interesting to me.
Yeah.
And then in fiscal year 2022, they removed over 243 trees from the parkway, ground over 264 stumps from tree removals, performed, excuse me, 128 of the tree trimming service requests, planted 45 new trees in the village right of way, assisted with severe storm damage pickup, in Roselle, to IPWA. Is that some sort of mutual assistance group?
IPWAMAN, yeah, it's Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network.
Mutual aid network, okay. And then this year's service goals, performing parkway tree removal, storm damage removal, trees damaged by high winds. We can go on with the rest of here. Continuing the tree adoption program. I don't know how successful that is. Provided mosquito abatement services through Clark Environmental Mosquito Management, including separate larvicide applications to 2,400 herb inlet structures. And they, basically what they do is they drop a briquette in, and it's a larvicide, and it releases, and it kills the mosquito larvae. They do other things too. They treat the ponds. They put fish in, a variety of fish that eats mosquito larvae, so that's interesting. And from what I'm looking at here in the budget document, it looks like the budget for that, the division went up a little bit. So the 2022 bid, oh no, it went down, I beg your pardon. So $126,200 budgeted in 2022, $82,400 budgeted in 2023.
Where is the actual purchase of new trees found at?
So, I think the one thing this is staff liaison Matt, I think I would caution against looking at this as the single pot of money for forestry activities. As with many things in the village budget, forestry is spread over a number of different funding locations, a number of different funds and accounts. So, planting of new trees comes from a number of different locations. As Chairman Wagner mentioned, we have the adoption program, which provides for residents to pay for the planting of new parkway trees. We also plant typically a large number of parkway trees with our capital projects. And in those cases, it usually comes out of the street improvement fund or possibly the fund that has the largest contribution to that project, whether it's water or sewer. So there's a lot of other areas, salaries in particular, come entirely out of the street improvement fund. So that's a large dollar amount that's not accounted for here in the street and forestry subcategory.
I've only had a quick glance at this, but a couple of things. There's way more trees removed than planted. Is this typical every year? I mean, are we losing trees?
It fluctuates. I would say there have been some years where there have been far more removals than plantings. I think, I don't want to promise this, I think from speaking with forestry staff, we're on track this year to be more of a break-even point. For the longest time, the staff was trying to catch up on removals that really had not been kept up to date. And so there was a lot of backlog on the removals that, these trees were well past the point that they should have been removed, just catching up on them, and unfortunately the planting could not keep up with those activities. So yes, you're right. per the goals for this budget at least. was a
I saw,
fairly-
yeah, increase the number of new plantings. And I also have to take into account that there's private citizens, all the private property people,
Sure,
those numbers aren't there, so.
correct.
Yeah. This insistent snow and ice removal, that's interesting. I feel like there's something there and I can't think of it, so. This was Mary Ann Greco talking.
And this is Commissioner Wagner speaking. In the 2023 service goals, it mentions American elm, Dutch elm disease, emerald ash borer, but there are other pests that are kind of coming to, and I can't remember all of them offhand, but there are some that are, the spotted lantern fly, which can attack maple trees. The Asian longhorn beetle, which the city of Chicago had an area of infestation, and they had to take down a lot of trees in a specific area, and they were able to control it. But from what I understand from the state of Illinois, Asian longhorn beetle is kind of moving back into the area. So there are other threats to trees. And I think I mentioned at last meeting that I had talked to an individual with the state of Illinois who handles the Tree City USA applications. And there's different criteria for that. One is a tree ordinance. And I think we have a tree ordinance in place.
We do.
But there's been some changes to the Tree City USA application process. They've kind of modified it. One question that Commissioner Amore sent me that he wanted to ask was, has climate change affected the variety of trees that we plant?
My understanding, staff liaison Mantles, my understanding is that it has. I can pass around the ordinance that was enacted the last time that the code regarding parkway trees was changed. This is from late 2015. Has a list of roughly 20 allowable species. And I can report that this was developed in coordination with the Morton Arboretum to provide diversity among species, resilience for the urban environment, and also trees that would be appropriate for parkways, right away next to sidewalks, things of that nature. So, and that list is periodically updated. Last time was obviously around 8 years ago. At some point in the future, I will likely need to be updated again, whether for climate change reasons or for Asian longhorn beetle or something else that might
Yeah.
come along. But it is something that needs to be updated periodically.
You wanna take a look?
Just want to see.
That you mentioned that you work with the Arboretum, Morton Arboretum, Commissioner Greco speaking. And that makes me a lot more comfortable knowing that we're unlikely to ever have an arborist on staff. But there is this awesome resource
There is.
that can go a long way towards filling the gap.
Yeah, and to both of those points, Bob's and yours, that we won't likely have an arborist on staff. I would agree with that, but the Arboretum has typically been more than willing to offer its professional knowledge and assistance.
And Kevin, it's my understanding if they provide training as well, don't they?
That I'm not aware of, but I could certainly look into that as a question and get back to you.
And I really went whole hog, and my apologies to the trees. I I did print out the ordinance, which I thought was what we're, so it actually has, I think it's the second page, it has the same list that you're referring to.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
So I just passed that out as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide context as to the timeline for that list, that it was updated within the last decade here. And prior to that, I think it was maybe
Oh, does everybody have one?
10 years prior to
Yeah,
that.
it's the same thing. So Kevin, would you say that there's 2 or 3 people who are, their primary responsibility is to do tree trimming and storm removal and
I would
tree
say,
planting?
yeah, officially, it's the Streets and Forestry Division. There are officially no employees in one or the other. It's one group. But for practical matters, I'd say that there are at least 2 employees that are 95% of their time is dedicated to forestry. Whether it's tree trimming, parkway tree limb pickup, stump grinding, tree planting, even just tree assessment. At least 2 employees that pretty much do nothing other than that. Actually, Bob, I don't know if you happen to print this or not. You had referenced in our conversation the Tree City USA application. So I did want to pass around for everyone's reference, and I will go ahead and circle this. Compared to the roughly, I think, $80,000 budget in the official village budget, when you consider all of the other expenses village-wide, whether through capital projects, different funding sources, we're over $500,000 for forestry activities in the year 2022. So when you pull all of those separate funding sources together, it's actually fairly significant. And the primary criteria, I should mention, for Tree City USA is the amount spent on forestry activities per capita for the village population. And I believe, Mary Ann, if you remind me, the per capita dollar amount is?
$26.14.
Okay.
So. I suppose the obvious next question is, how does that compare to other people in the area?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question.
Commissioner Leishman, is it fair to say that that $26 is enough to meet the Tree City USA requirements?
Yeah, the village has been certified as Tree City USA Village for 38 consecutive years.
Ooh,
So, yes. Whatever
Okay.
the minimum threshold is, we have exceeded it for that nearly 4 decades now.
okay, so, yeah, then the comparative with other communities is less important because clearly we meet their thresholds, so.
We do.
And I think I'll just interject, I may have mentioned this before, but the Chicago Regional Tree Initiative, which I mentioned before, which is housed in the Morton Arboretum, you can go and look at communities, municipalities in the Chicago metro area and look at their evaluation of the tree canopy. And the Villa Park's tree canopy is, I'm gonna say above average, but not, probably not where we wanna be, but it's above average.
Commissioner Leishman, I did have just one random question related to this. I'm kind of new to the village, so what does the village do with all its wood chips?
So we've got a couple different ways of dealing with the wood chips. I imagine many of the people around the table know that Public Works puts them out for the public to pick them up and use for landscaping or what have you. We typically keep them at a couple different locations around the village. Those tend to change just because of ongoing construction projects. But we do typically give away a lot of it to residents. And then actually area tree contractors will take most of the remainder of the chips and also the logs off of our hands for us for free. That they then either resell the chips as mulch or then cut the logs down into mulch and then sell it that way too. So there's really nothing that isn't return back to the environment in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
But we do some outsourcing, don't we, of the,
Just a little bit, just
Okay.
a little bit. We have, we've had some difficulty getting contractors to come in and work. Not because they won't work for us, it's just obviously very expensive and those costs have grown substantially recently. So we've tried to focus on the in-house crew. So there's a lot of things we can't do. There's some trees that are just way too big, or if it's over power lines, then we have to call in a contractor. But we do try and have our in-house team do as much as possible.
and then isn't the stump grinder that we use, is a fairly new piece of equipment?
Relatively, yeah.
Relatively new.
Yeah, I would guess it's
Maybe
probably 15 years at this
Almost
point.
15, wow, okay.
Time flies, so I can't really judge.
Well,
what
that's
they are.
considered new here.
Yeah.
It's a long list too, right?
I'm sorry?
There's a long list of people waiting to,
There is. There is a very long list of people waiting for tree trimming. And I can actually speak to that too. So, the village's workflow for tree trimming requests is what they come in. Staff will evaluate, determine if it's hazardous, determine if the tree is dead, determine if, there's something that requires more immediate action. Outside of that though, the village is divided into, I believe it's 6 zones for annual tree trimming. And so those forestry crews then go around and trim that zone in the year that it's expected to be done. Next year, they'll move on to the one after that. And that pertains to anything that's not deemed to be hazardous. I would say hazardous comes down sooner. But for just the periodic tree trimming, the aesthetics tree trimming, that's done on that cycle, that annual cycle.
Commissioner Leishman, you mentioned that, the line for this service is pretty long and, the village has kind of a backlog of trees that needs to come down. Are we catching up on that backlog and that's why the tree removal and trimming budget is so much smaller for 2023 versus 2022? It's a reduction of from $65,000 to $20,000 if I'm reading that properly.
So this is just the contractual.
Okay.
And I should mention too that if you'll notice, it was budgeted for $65,000 in 2022. We only ended up using about $15,000 of that.
Okay.
So even though it was budgeted, we were able to get most of that done with in-house crews. So yeah, just to reiterate, this account that we're looking at here is for contracting the removal and trimming.
Thank
So
you.
with our guys doing it more in-house, those dollars in the salaries and the equipment in other locations in the budget.
Thank you for help with that.
And it's my understanding that when, like, for example, if an ash tree has emerald ash borer infestation, that it tends to drop limbs, and it creates a liability for us if it's on the parkway, is that correct?
That's something that's beyond my expertise, but I believe that sounds correct, yes. And certainly emerald ash borer is a priority for any time we come across it for removing it. I'm not aware of anything that's been noticed recently, so I think it's been quite a while since we've come across anything there.
Any other questions about forestry?
they're efficient. This is Ellen Jerkonis. A tree went down next to us and a large limb. I mean, they're fast.
Okay.
They do a good job.
Yeah, and we've got some maintenance workers who have been doing this for decades now, and they know what they're doing, they know their craft, and they're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have them, I would say. So.
Well, Kevin, we appreciate you bringing us that additional information. I know this was kind of a last minute thing, so we appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Okay. if there's no other questions about forestry, I'm gonna move on to our next item on our agenda, which is 5D, recap of Halloween happenings participation. And so, Halloween happenings was staffed by Commissioner Leishman and Commissioner Morey, and I wanted to be there, but I was doing grandpa duty. And I'm happy to say that I have a new grandchild.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Nicholas is his first name, and was 9 pounds 2 ounces.
Wow,
So it was a big boy.
yeah, yeah.
So mom, dad, and father are all doing well. So if you want to give us a little report, or
Sure, this is Commissioner Leishman. This was my first Halloween happening, so I don't really know how it compares to other years, but the weather was gorgeous, so it seemed to me like there were a lot of kids there. We passed out quite a bit of candy, and while we were there, we reminded people about the pumpkin smash that's coming up, and we also, Commissioner Amore was sharing some rail safety guidelines with anyone that would listen to him. And yeah, I think it was all pretty well received.
and we got the energy games again
We did.
from the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and I
Yes.
need to return those to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in my wife's car,
Okay.
but I can call her
Okay.
so we can hand those off. Yeah, there wasn't. It's a trick or treat event, so kids didn't exactly have the patience for the energy games that they have at other events. They were mostly interested in moving on to the next candy station. But there were a couple kids that were interested in it, and
And we did get some prizes for the energy games as well.
yes,
So,
most of those will be returning
Okay.
to the mayor's caucus, where I'm sure they will find good use. But yeah, I thought it went well.
okay. And how many people would you say passed by? Was it over 100?
Oh, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank you both for doing that. It was fun. Last year was our first year,
Yeah, it was fun.
and it was interesting to see some of the costumes, the ingenuity and the imagination involved with the costumes. So, okay, I'm going to move on to item 5E. Communication and community outreach. We talked about Pumpkin Smash. We're all set up for Pumpkin Smash, which is on November 4th. Cooking oil collection on November 25th. So Salt Creek, I don't know how many people will need to be there. But I could probably staff it myself. I don't know how many people will be coming through. The one year that we did it here in the Village Hall parking lot, I think we only got maybe a dozen or so people. So, that's on November 25th, and then Joyful Traditions is on December 2nd. You may know that Laura, I can't remember Laura's last name. Schnettler, yeah, was the director for the Chamber of Commerce, and she stepped down. So the Chamber's looking for someone. Usually we get, since we've had a tree for many years, usually they say they're asking us to let them know our intentions, if we're intending of getting a tree or not.
Sponsor, yeah.
I don't know when that'll be coming.
Well, This is Ellen Draconis. I did talk to North School. And
Okay.
they're willing to go. She just wants a date when they need to have ornaments done. But now, we're not even sure there'll be a tree.
I think that's the
There-
plan. I mean, the plan is to have, continue as in years past.
Right. The chamber signed all the most of the contracts are signed for, and I believe there was a meeting with staff this past week maybe, but as far as I know, the contracts have all been signed for the event, so they just need to get a staff member going as far as the promotion of the trees. My understanding is it's still gonna happen, yes.
It should be happening now, right?
It should be, yes.
Okay. So I can tell her, so when would they need to have these? When would we decorate? The last time they did it, which now has been, was that pre-COVID? Holy cow.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think,
So the week before December 2nd, I mean, the trees go up,
Right around-
obviously beforehand.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
That week, they
Right.
go up.
so that will be, won't that be cooking oil day?
That Saturday is the 25th, right, November.
Yeah, it'll be cooking oil day.
Right, and then
Okay.
the following Saturday is,
So she needs to have those ready before
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, and then we can let her know when we are gonna be over there to decorate?
Right, so is there intention to produce some ornaments for us?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, and I think D45 is off the week of Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, she would have to have them done before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving, right.
But then if we want to invite them to come and help decorate, which they had a lot of kids come that day, it was a good activity. And put their ornaments on, parents came, a lot of kids. We don't know the date of the decorating, is what, I wonder if they have a meeting set up for that. You know, if they have a meeting already one day that week, this could be their meeting to come and decorate the tree. Okay.
Yeah.
So the tree has to be ready on the 2nd.
December 2, yeah.
So we have a week, so
Normally.
the week of November 26th is before the
Event.
December 2nd.
Well,
Yeah,
I
so-
can be there whenever but I'll let her decide. If she
Okay, say it
wants-
again.
If she wants to decide what day of that week they'd like to come, I can be there just to supervise that.
Okay. And this is Commissioner Wagner again. I didn't even think about this, and I think we could probably still work this in the agenda to approve the spending for a tree.
I move that we approve. How much was it?
I-
150 or?
Does I think we should put a cap on it in case it does go up
Right,
this
I
year,
think
but
that- Yeah, I was looking at.
Yeah, I think it's
Joyful
safe.
Traditions,
Mary Ann Becca.
150. I'll put a cap on of $200.
I think that's sufficient.
It should be sufficient.
Yeah.
For some reason, I seem to recall it was $75 for nonprofits. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and we got the larger tree by the gazebo, and I believe it was around $175. So I think $200 should cover it.
Yeah,
I move that we approve the expenditure of $200 for the Joyful Traditions
not to
tree.
exceed, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, not to exceed $200.
Okay, so Commissioner Draconis moved that we spend up to $200 for a tree for our participation in Joyful Traditions. Is there a second for the motion?
I second that motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Leishman. Is there any discussion?
My only potential amendment is, would we want to increase that value even higher? Because we've got quite a bit of extra money in the budget for the remainder of this year.
I mean,
Well, the tree price is the tree price. They set
Yeah,
it. I was just
exactly.
concerned that it would go up more.
Do we pay more depending on location though?
we do pay more for, we get a larger tree and we have it by the gazebo. So,
But that was the most expensive tree already.
It was.
yeah,
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
the most expensive tree,
Okay.
right? And I just wanna add that I've saved all the ornaments from last year, and, which were made of recycled material, and Ellen did a really nice job with, your snowman. And actually still have some of the ornaments that the North School students
Right.
produced, so.
Yeah.
If they produce more ornaments, we should have plenty of ornaments for the tree.
Do they make them out of recycled materials too? Is that the
That's what
idea?
Yeah.
that's what I asked, yes.
You need a vote?
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of spending not to exceed $200 for a tree for Joyful Traditions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, I will reach out to whoever, probably would Ray Rub Search be?
She's still on the
Appropriate
board.
person?
She's still on the board, yeah.
Yeah, and who else is on the board?
The gentleman from BMO Harris, I'm trying to remember. I'll look it up.
Is Matt Schmidt still on the
I
board?
think he's still on there.
Matt Schmidt, okay.
Yeah, I think so, but let me look it up.
So while we're still on the subject of joyful traditions, I have in Trello here some to-do items regarding joyful traditions, I think, from the document that Commissioner Draconis provided me a couple months ago. There's an item in here that I don't really know what it means, but it says ask permission to collect lights.
Right, so I can explain that. In the past, we discovered one year that the chamber didn't reuse the lights. What they did was they cut the lights off the trees, believe it or not, and discarded them. Shame on the chamber.
That's actually very common. That's what all the lights in downtown Chicago, that's what they do.
So what we've done the last couple of years is we've collected the lights, and we've taken them over to Scarce. So Scarce would recycle those Christmas lights. And I think someone made the suggestion that maybe people who have a tree should be invited to, when they remove their ornaments, because that's what the chamber asked them to do, to remove the lights. Because, I mean, I have Christmas lights that I've reused for 6, 7, 8 years, and they still work. There's no reason to cut them off. It's kind of wasteful, but, no, it's not, it is wasteful.
Is sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Is this an initiative we'd like to pursue again this year?
Absolutely, yeah, I mean, we would ask, I mean, I had 2 huge bags of lights that I took to
Did you
Scarce.
say that to him? That's the current president.
Oh.
This is
okay.
Ellen Draconis. So can't the chamber require that? If you're gonna we'll put the lights on, the chamber puts the lights on.
Chamber of Village. Puts the lights on.
I'm actually not sure, I'll be honest.
Oh, you think the village does?
I actually, well, as we were sitting here, I was texting to try and get more information, but I've not heard back yet, so. But I'm not sure.
They asked for volunteers.
To put the
Yeah.
lights on?
They asked for volunteers to put the lights on.
Oh,
And then they ask for volunteers to take the lights off. But it's kind of a big undertaking, because I don't know how many trees there are, there's 80, 90 trees.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
yeah.
It's a lot.
Because it goes from Addison Road to,
Thank you.
Monterey.
Is it all the way to the end?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It can, yeah.
Yep, it is.
I think it depends on how many are bought, but yeah.
right.
Yeah, taking them down is very labor intensive, and I think that's why they just cut them off and toss
Right.
them.
But the thing was to find them in the garbage, it was just,
Yeah,
I mean, we have electronics recycling event, we could take those to electronics recycling.
right, yeah, or like you said, have someone take them to Scares, so, I mean, it's a simple matter of the chamber just collecting them all in a box, or garbage bags or something.
Right.
So I think, Commissioner Leachman, I think that would be another good thing to ask about when you reach out to the chamber
Right, right.
about purchasing a tree. And then I have another item on here for publicized Christmas tree light recycling, which I guess we will pursue if that's a thing that we're allowed to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think they try and do it with as many volunteers as possible, but they lean heavily on Public Works village staff.
But that would be a good social media post as far as
yes.
where you can recycle your Christmas lights. So, a good informational type thing,
I can,
December sometime.
yeah. Maybe the first week of December after Joyful Traditions.
Right.
Oh, it's good, because when people are pulling out their Christmas decorations and a string of light doesn't work, and remind them not to throw it away.
Right.
And while we're on the issue of communication, community outreach, and we added this to the agenda, I'd like to get approved some spending to do a sign that we could put on Route 83 prior to November 25th, just advertising the cooking oil collection. So Scarce does publicize the locations. Salt Creek Sanitary District is one of them. They do have a receptacle that Scarce provided them for the cooking oil collection. So I'm thinking to produce a sign, a fairly large sign, corrugated plastic, probably not more than $100.
It would have to be pretty big, because traffic moves pretty fast on 83.
Right.
If you position it right, they do back up for the stoplight, so they'll have plenty of time to see it sometimes, but.
Right. There is an awful lot of traffic there. So a sign publicizing it would be, pretty beneficial. We'd reach a lot of people.
If they're not going too fast to see it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Commissioner Leachman.
Does the Salt Creek Sanitary District regularly do this sort of cooking oil collection?
It's year round. It's
Okay.
year round, but because of, the proximity to Thanksgiving, people use cooking oil to deep fry their turkeys. I've never done it, but,
It's good.
so that's why there's more cooking oil available, or, spent cooking oil, or that people want to get rid of. They cook their turkeys, they have all this cooking oil that they want to get rid of. We don't want them pouring it down the storm drain, or down the toilet, or down their sink. We want them to, it's used for biodiesel.
Sure. I guess the question that I am really interested in is there a way that we can make this sign more generic so that we can use it again in the future?
Absolutely,
Like,
right, exactly.
Like if we
yeah.
set the wording as cooking oil collection this Saturday or something like that with an arrow, is that the sort of thing that we think could be useful in the future?
Right, that's a good point, because, they do it year round. So cooking oil collection here or cooking oil collection,
It could even be, it should just say cooking oil collection, and then there's like a blank space underneath that we write in with a washable marker or something.
that's a good point, yeah.
Just a thought. It's
Yeah.
also not a huge expense to the village, so if we need to buy different signs in the future, I think that's fine. Just trying to reduce plastic waste.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but there's that consideration too. It would make more
Right,
sense to make reusable signs whenever we possibly can. So I concur. A generic sign, and even Sharpie will come off with, 90% alcohol.
Yeah, my only concern is I don't know how the corrugated plastic would respond to the alcohol.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Well, it's cold, yeah, not to the alcohol.
So 36 by 48 yard sign, two-sided, full color is $90. So
Okay.
100 is right on track.
Does it come with a stand?
Oh, I didn't look at that. Sign and stakes, I think so.
You know what, though, we all have leftover stands from political signs.
Oh, I have lots of stands, yeah.
What, 36 by 48?
I move that we approve the expenditure of not to exceed $150 to purchase a sign for the Salt Creek Sanitary District oil collection event.
Okay,
I will second that.
second, is there any discussion?
Do we want to amend the motion to say a reusable sign?
And that's it. I will say that.
Right,
Or
I'm
will
gonna, yeah,
that just
I'll do
be-
some research. I'm not sure I need to go through positive impressions since we have sign folks in town. I don't, I can go to them and,
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just saying, do we want to amend the motion, but I
yeah, I
think
mean,
we're all in agreement about
I've
the
seen
sign.
signs that have a panel that, where you can write on it and then you can just wash it off.
Yeah.
Or, so. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay, I will get the sign handled and the tree, and I'll look into the collection of the lights as well.
There, is there gonna be, we still have lights and weather stripping in the front closet? Yes. There's still a couple boxes still left.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Which
You
you
know
would
what,
love to
I
get
thought
rid of.
about that before Halloween happenings, but,
Yeah.
I don't think the
yeah,
kids would
we
like
Yeah,
were
here,
kind of,
Lobo.
I was kind of scurrying around so that,
Yeah.
you had plenty of stuff to give away anyhow.
Oh yeah, no, and we didn't. They were not interested in, in the energy game. Let me tell you, they were interested in the candy.
Yeah.
Right, so we have, how many LED?
And there's still like a box, one box with lights in it, and we have, I think, a couple, 2 to 3 boxes of the weather stripping.
Of weather stripping, okay.
Yes.
Boy, that lasted us a long time,
Yeah, so.
yeah.
I was just thinking how funny it would be to be giving out weather stripping to the kids coming to my door.
So I think we could probably get rid of that at the Joyful Tradition. So we'll finally get that off your hands, Sandy.
Nothing else. We use it as garland on the tree.
There we go. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5F, our 2024 budget cycle, our commission budget. And what I passed out was our spending year to date. And I'm thinking that I didn't cover this with Commissioner Howard, but I'm thinking that they missed some items here. I don't necessarily see, let's see here. It's hard to discern because some of these things are not, I don't see where the tree for Arbor Day is on our spending. I don't know. So it says BMO Harris MasterCard. So somebody from staff purchased something for us.
That was the,
Oh, that was that was Cocoa Crawl.
yeah,
That was what?
Cocoa Crawl,
Well, there's
the cups.
Oh.
Positive impressions was probably the plaque. The
So Director Guerra said that we were gonna get charged for it, and I think it was like $275 or $250, I can't recall, for the tree for Arbor Day.
don't see it in there.
It may be on here, I'm not sure. So
Is
our
it-
budget, you'll see there is, for this fiscal year was $2,000. And we got a little spreadsheet from the manager's office. With just some line items. Green Champion Award, I think these were just things that in the last budget that I submitted. TerraCycle pen and marker recycling, Arbor Day tree adoption.
Now, are we at the point where we need to determine our spending for next year?
That's exactly what I wanted to. So, kind of looking at those items, what we spent last year, I actually didn't quite get up to $2,000. And the email from the manager's office was that if we didn't amend our budget, that they were going to budget for us what they budgeted last year. So I wanted to bring this to the commission because I think it's important that we discuss our spending. If anyone had any, I mentioned that this was on our agenda last month. I put this as an item. So once again, I'd like to support Cocoa Crawl. We provided compostable cups and lids. I'd like to do that again this year. Cocoa Crawl is February 10th.
Yes.
Supporting Arbor Day, we purchase, we get a tree. Our Green Champion Award, I don't know how many Green Champion Awards we'll be passing out this year. We passed out 2 last year. We purchased a banner for the Bike Pedestrian and Transit Subcommittee.
We've yet to purchase something for the entire commission yet, as far as
I'm sorry, say again?
have we purchased, or would we be purchasing like a tablecloth for the commission itself?
We can, but I kind of factored that in, and I didn't really get to $2,000.
Okay.
So my thought is here that I think that, and I don't think we've ever reached our spending, we've ever exceeded our spending in our budget. If we need to, we can ask for additional dollars, but I think that $2,000 is an adequate budget for us for 2024.
How close, Ellen Draconis, how close were you to the 2,000?
I was at about $1,800.
Okay, because I got this in the mail because of things that we've done. So, one like this is $129. This one's a little bit nicer, $185. But I also would really like to consider something to advertise the spring sweep, and in the form of yard signs or something like that. And I priced them, and if you got 100, that would be a lot. 100 would be a lot, but they run. You could pay $6 each for, but you can also pay $2, or you can get a different style that's $1.95 each, and you could start out with 50 of them for next year, something, and then of course we have to store them. I would like to have us consider that extra advertising for spring sweep.
I mean, we could ask to bump our budget up by, $200 if that, so for yard signs promoting spring sweep, for, so Traffic and Safety Commission, the prior year, we did some yard signs that were kind of generic, drive like your kids live here signs.
Right.
Those are corrugated plastic yard signs from a group that produces them, produces just that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of those signs have gone away. I don't know if people are storing them in their garage or whatever, but I don't see as many as I used to see.
I saw one today.
No,
Saw one today.
Well, would we like come up with a plan to drop them off and pick them up then after the event? So like you said, we could store them.
So,
when we were running our events, we did.
so let me just jump in here. We don't have to work out a plan right now.
Right.
You just
We
need to
just
budget.
have to work out, we just have to say, okay, we want additional dollars in the budget because we want to do this. And we can work out a plan later for that,
Right.
and where we're gonna get the signs from and what the signs say.
Right.
So.
And I would suggest just do 2,500. I don't think that's an unreasonable amount for the village to give this commission, for us to be promoting
Yeah.
these kind of things.
So I know a commission
Yeah.
that has a budget of $2,200. And according to the finance director, that commission hasn't spent anything. According to the finance director, so.
And we don't have to just adopt one tree on Arbor Day.
That,
Right.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
yeah, that was Commissioner Leishman here. That is exactly the question that I was going to ask. I mean, I know for one of your trees and pollinators goal was to increase the number of native species plantings in the town here. And so if we wanted to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a second Arbor Day tree, but it could.
Right.
If you wanted to do like a pollinator garden somewhere, $200 could go decently far away, especially if we're volunteering our own time to plant it. So I think that could be a good use of extra money. And for Commissioner Greco, would you want some sort of tangible thing to pass out for the Golden Shovel Award that you were going to?
Exactly, I thought about that as well.
Oh, yes. You're right, a prize of some kind for getting it, a plaque with a shovel, or right.
Or a shovel spray painted gold.
Which nobody's gonna wanna keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to come up with the plan now, so I'll stop
Right, we just have to
brainstorming.
say,
Um,
and
What's
I
a
can,
plaque typically run?
Oh, it's a plaque.
Yeah, if you just, an award of some kind.
Oh, it looks like
You
it.
can do
It might be
a wide
about.
variety.
so,
of
yeah,
places.
so through positive
Might be
impressions,
178.
the plaque was like 100
Okay, so go 200. just
Yeah, but those
round
are
it.
two plaques, and those are
Right.
kind of specialized plaques,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But still, maybe something more substantial, like maybe a real shovel that they can use next year.
Right, for $56.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a bow on it.
All right, well, we don't have to brainstorm that now, but yeah, let's budget for the Golden Shovel Award.
So
Okay.
I think 2,500 is reasonable.
We can ask, and if they need to trim, they will trim.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do we need to have a motion for that, or?
I think that's appropriate,
That's
I
what I
think in
did.
a motion
That's
to
what I
say,
did.
let's request, $2,500 for our budget.
All right.
And I can, I can certainly, ballpark numbers, and justify that increase.
I move that we request a budget of $2,500 for the 2024 fiscal year.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of requesting a budget for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $2,500, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I will convey that to the manager's office. And once again, there's nothing guaranteed that, that we'll get that budget, but, if you don't ask, you don't get it, so. And I think that other commissions, like, we'll say the Fund Commission, I think they probably exceeded their budget with their, what was it, Autumn Jubilee?
Autumn Jubilee.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5G, future ComEd energy efficiency presentation. And I was in contact with Susanna Strongmeyer and another fellow from ComEd. And they would like to do a presentation, and they were suggesting early part of December. And I talked to Sandy and Candace, and I did send out to them a few, 3 dates in December, December 7th, 12th, and 13th, to do a presentation at the library about energy efficiency. And they said that they would be passing out, as part of the presentation, they would be passing out some giveaways, energy efficiency items. And I asked about, you're laughing.
I was just gonna. I've got about 2 guesses as to what those energy efficient items are going to be.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
LED light bulbs and probably
Weather stripping.
Weather stripping.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, last year we got this huge pallet load of items, which has lasted us for a year. So they responded that they do, and the year prior, we distributed income. It was you had to qualify for the you had to have some sort of I don't remember the specifics about it, but it was on the honor system. You had to fill out a form.
Right.
You had to say that you qualified
Right.
by income for the program. So they still have that. Susanna Strangmeyer didn't know if the program that we participated in last year was still in effect. But my thought is, when you get that large number of items, they get shipped to you, you have to receive them, and you have to store them. And thanks to the library for taking on that, and then to a certain extent,
Being our warehouse.
Tri-Town YMCA stored some items for us, so my thought is, I don't wanna get involved in that again. I thought it was kind of a big, we had to find a place to store all those items. It was kind of the pain in the neck for the library, and it was kind of a pain in the neck for us. So, I'm thinking, this year, let's not do it. I know people appreciated getting the items, but it was kind of a lot of work.
I
Commissioner
agree, I
Reese?
don't think the return on investment
Yeah.
was all that great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should rule it out for the future.
Oh, no,
I
no.
think I think it was really good publicity for the commission, but
You can let it
I
rest
think
for
we-
a year.
well, I think it's perfectly reasonable to want to clear out the backlog that we're still getting rid of
Yeah.
before we ask for more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a huge pallet load.
Yep.
It was like this high.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And I know I've been passing them out for the last 6 months. And you guys were passing them out long before that as
yeah,
well.
and the nice thing was there was no income
tied to
You
it.
didn't have to be income eligible, you could just give them to anybody.
Yep.
So. So that's my only report on that. We'll hear back from them as to when they are available of the 3 dates. And then they said, well, because of the Clean Energy Jobs Act, ComEd has some additional programs which were gonna come online in 2024. So they would like to do an additional presentation in June. So we'll wait to hear back from them as to when the library has some open dates in June so that they can make a presentation. So,
Commissioner Leishman, in the event that this presentation does get scheduled for early December sometime, I am going to suggest that rather than doing my social media post in late November about World Vegan Day, I do it about that instead.
That sounds good.
Because this will be kind of a late edition for the libraries.
Yeah, it won't be in,
yeah, it's
we
gonna be
can
kind
do
of,
some publicity, but it won't be in the newsletter.
right.
Yeah. So,
So leave the vegan day open as a backup if that does, yeah.
cool. And that aligns well with some of the climate change goals that I was trying to have for the commission.
And I don't know if we need a consensus not to participate in the, no, I don't think we do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5H, which is the D45 Echo Club plastic bag collection. And I kinda got educated on this. I thought there was only one Echo Club, and that it was just at North School, but I guess there is, each school has an Echo Club.
It started a long time ago.
Okay. And that they all have a desire to have, and I think the idea is that collecting these used plastic bags, they're then converted into a bench made out of recycled plastic. And I also reached out to Kay to ask her, Kay McKean at Scarce, because I thought, if we're collecting plastic bags, why don't we do a plastic bag collection at Pumpkin Smash? Why don't we ask people, if they're bringing their pumpkins in, why don't we ask them to bring their plastic bags in? And Kay has not gotten back to me. I sent her an email almost a week ago. So I may just pick up the phone and call her.
Well, I will be this is Ellen Draconis. I will be talking to her, but I have no idea of what time schedule we're talking about. I mean,
Right.
the way what I'm getting from you is that this is like, start now. And
Right.
is that, then how are we involved? That's what I didn't understand.
Well, Kay's response was that they'd love to have us promote it. But I think, why don't we just, why can't we collect for them and take them to Scarce?
That was one of my questions. Where are these
I
bags
don't-
going?
I don't know.
They're going to, I think they're going to Scarce.
Well, there's something about Jewel too. There was something.
There was-
Because they have to
about
be
Jewel.
weighed, yeah.
Where? That's what I asked
Yeah,
her, and
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
heard back. So I think we just get that information from her and then we talk about this. And even getting that word out before the pumpkin smashes.
Right.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
publicity's gonna be really hard to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be nice to know as soon as possible because the staff at the library, I'm sorry, but we started a plastic bag collection because people just bring plastic bags in all the time. So let's just centralize all that. Staff has a plastic bag collection. We drop them off at Jewel. I just as soon support the schools for their benches, but it adds up. It's a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
I would-
storage issues, so where do we drop it off? Is it Jewel? Is it Scarce?
Right.
Is it the
And
school?
is, and if Scarce is Scarce, because sometimes they don't like us dropping in at Scarce. So when would Scarce, if it is Scarce, when would they want
Yeah.
these dropped off
Yeah.
at?
Yeah.
And
I can give you all that information after.
Once you
I
talk to her.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was thinking 1,000 pounds of plastic bags.
That's a lot of
It's
fun.
a
You
lot
know,
of plastic.
those bags don't weigh that much.
No,
And if you have a huge bag of plastic bags and you take them to Jewel, I would say they probably weigh at maybe 5 pounds.
right.
Yeah,
it's
it's a
gonna
lot of plastic
it's
bags.
going to be hundreds of thousands of plastic bags.
Yes, exactly.
So
And we want used plastic bags. We don't want people going to Jewel and crapping plastic bags. I mean, that would be absurd.
No.
You know, we want, yeah. There's a lot of plastic bags out there that need to be recycled.
and they are hoping to get 1,000 pounds for every school, right?
Every bench, like Westmore wants 2 benches.
Wow,
Right.
that's a lot of bags.
So I'm gonna move
Stevenson
that
has
we
been
table
trying-
this until next
Yeah,
meeting.
Stevenson's been trying for a couple of years to
When
get a
we have
bench.
some.
I will second that motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Let's, okay,
Need more info.
all those in favor of tabling this item till our next meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye, aye, aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to item 6, public comment. There is no public. Item 7, commissioner comments.
Can I just say that you asked for I. So I'm putting the discussion on the money for I under H, under I. The money for the, we discussed it earlier.
Yes.
You had mentioned, and you said, no, you wanted it to be a special item.
Oh,
So when
yeah.
I write up the minutes, it's that discussion's going under I.
No, it's gotta go where it
Yeah.
was,
Discussed?
yes,
Yeah, so all the other items will be pushed back.
yeah.
So 2024 budget cycle will become
So-
item G.
So, yeah, just say, no,
We
you can
have
just say
to-
aye and just say see above. Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay. Okay.
yep. Right?
That would work.
I mean-
This was discussed earlier, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because, yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I asked that we add the item and
Yes.
we discussed it and
earlier, yes.
we approved the spending.
Part of that is, if people are coming in and out of the meeting, it helps to know who was there for which discussions. I think that's kind of why it's done that way.
Okay, we're on commissioner comments. Commissioner Leishman.
I have no comments this
Okay.
evening.
Commissioner Chukonis, okay? Commissioner Hill, anything?
We did have Bill Cargis, he's gonna do a program on pollinator plants this spring, I think March, so that'll be in the newsletter. And then I talked to Kim Colton, do you know Kim Colton? She's with Be All About It, they have beekeeping classes and they can do speaking engagements, so we will try to get her in the summer to talk about bees and honey and that type of thing. So, working on a couple programs.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
When is the deadline for the next round of library events?
It's gone.
Oh, it's gone. Never mind.
Well,
When's the next time after that then?
and the next time after that, we start the call for content for the next issue of the resource on December 15th.
And that will be for starting in.
That's the summer. That's May, June, July, and August. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Is that it?
Well, and then the other thing we talked about, and we thought could be publicized in May, is perhaps that film you were talking about.
Right, right. So I'm going to, there was a film, and they actually sent me an email. It's about cycling. It's an award-winning film, and they were looking for venues to show the film And I had talked to Sandy about this several months ago, and then Sandy asked me about it again, and coincidentally, they sent me an email saying, hey, if you're interested, we'd like to show the film. We're looking for venues to show the film. So, May is Bike Month. I'm gonna reach out to them to see if we can show the film at the library in May. And that would still be
That'll
able
be
to
in-
put
yes.
your deadline for, so they publicize it.
Yep.
And it was a great film. I don't remember the name of it, but I can forward the email later on about that. Commissioner Greco, anything?
No comment.
Okay. Okay, just a couple things. Been monitoring the commission email, environmental concerns at invillapark.com. We've only had one email, and that was from a resident who was looking for help, actually with regards to a tree. He wanted to know if there was some sort of assistance to help him, because it could be costly to remove a tree from your property. This was a dead tree. So I referred him to the Arboretum. I didn't know about any other assistance. So with regards to, there's new software which to post agendas. So we did receive some kind of, I'm gonna call it praise or accolades, that bike, pedestrian, and transit and environmental concerns were the only commissions that were posting agendas on their own, according to Cheryl Wagner. So, let's pat ourselves on the back.
Especially since none of us got the training.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we kind of,
What's that say
It
about
was,
the
they
training?
offered it once during the day when we're all at work, so none of us did it, and so we just all figured it out on our own.
right. I've stumbled a little bit. I've had problems publishing our agenda, and it looks a little wonky on the website, but hey, it's there, so.
Especially if it's saying we're at the golf course right now.
Right, exactly, yeah. There's a lot of people over there waiting for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. I mean, we had a special meeting,
Yes.
Yeah,
that one special meeting at the golf course, but anyways.
I think.
Yeah, I noticed that on ours, the first one, so we just had to change it both
Yeah.
times. Yeah, I think what they probably did was they just picked one and used it as a template when they set it up.
Could be.
And they, of course, picked the one time.
Okay, I have no other comments. Village Board Liaison comments. Kevin, do you have anything for us?
Happy to be appointed board liaison, but
Oh, are you our liaison now, or?
Staff, no, but you called him the board liaison, he's actually staff.
Oh, that's right, the board, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
staff comments.
He-
I have
Staff
nothing,
comments.
thank you.
We're happier with
Yeah, we don't have a liaison anymore. A village board liaison.
I don't know if it's a promotion or not, but.
He was drafted.
All right, then I'm gonna motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second?
I will second the
Okay.
motion.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.
Yay.
The name of that.
Are you the permanent or you're just?
No, Mike's just on vacation. He's watching
God
his
no, he
kids
said,
play
God